All right, welcome back to another episode of Waking Up with Wandy, and this time it is not necessarily me waking up. I've been up for a few hours. This other guest, on the other hand, Arvin Khamseh, thank goodness, thank God, Arvin, you've been able to reschedule things on my end. Of course, my audience knows I have 4 children, and my schedule is always out of whack, so I appreciate Arvin waking up so early over there. Arvin is calling in from Vancouver, Canada, so we have a 3-hour time difference, so it is not even 7 a.m. over there for Arvin, so thank goodness Arvin was able to schedule us and get us in here this morning. Really do appreciate it. A little bit of background on Arvin. He's always been at the forefront of new tech trends. And I can't think of a bigger tech trend that is really gaining steam and momentum right now, and that is in the field of NFTs. And that would be non-fungible tokens. I do know a little bit, and and when I say a little bit, it is at least I know what the acronym stands for. But Arvin Khamseh is one of the foremost thought leaders as it pertains to the space of NFTs, consulting over 200 different NFT brands and partnering with Reddit, Twitter, and Quora. He has some very exciting current projects that are generating incredible profits. And, again, those students that are in my intro to business class or my program students, it is all about, again, show me the money, show me the profits, not about headline numbers. It's about those bottom line numbers and those profits, what we can keep. And he's been gathering all sorts of attention from celebrities. I am so pumped to have Arvin Khamseh on the show with us here today. Let's welcome Arvin Khamseh, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Arvin, NFTs. At least I got the acronym correct. Non-fungible token, correct?
Yep, that's it. And by the way, it's at this point it's actually about 400 NFT projects. Yeah.
The bio is out of date here on Podmatch. Podmatch is a platform that connects podcasters from all over the world, and that's how Arvin and I got connected, is through the Podmatch platform. So at that time when it was written, it was 200. We have now doubled that to 400. So we're talking substantial growth here in the space of NFTs. So let's just keep it very simple, Arvin. We'll start with a softball here, if you don't mind. Explain an NFT to, I have 4 kids, like I said, an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So let's pick the 7-year-old. Explain an NFT to a 7-year-old. Can we do that, Arvin?
Yes. So first of all, it stands for non-fungible token as opposed to fungible token. And so non-fungible means it cannot be duplicated. So if you think about let's say Eiffel Tower, so you can build that again, but it won't be Eiffel Tower. So that's the concept, is that the ownership, the origin is very important, and it's also recorded on the blockchain. So if someone doesn't know what a blockchain is, so blockchain is essentially a database. It's like a Google Doc. So maybe people in high school, they use Google Doc. So it's a Google Doc where all the transactions, all the with timestamps and also owners and who owns what is all submitted and recorded on that blockchain. So now, as far as NFTs, it could be a moment of time, it could be an audio, it could be a video, it could be an image, and it has a lot of functions. So in business and also just for artists, it's just changing the stereotypes for artists. So they're no longer, associated with just being broke. And so that's what NFTs are. And a lot of people, I think maybe on the internet, they just call them expensive JPEGs, but that's far from truth. There's actually a lot of utilities that goes with the expensive JPEGs as well. And so just to summarize it, it could be a moment of time, could be an audio, video, could be quite honestly anything at this point. That if someone owns it and it's recorded under their name, it cannot be duplicated. and it's very transparent on the blockchain who owns it, when it was created, and then it can have a lot of value too. So it can have from a value from $1 to millions of dollars. And it's all based on certain specific things like utility, the community, so on and so forth.
Okay. So as you were saying that these NFTs, non-fungible, it can't be duplicated. And I really appreciate the example with the Eiffel Tower. That was fantastic. So let's how about so I'm so accustomed, and this is why I love speaking with entrepreneurs of all walks of life, because this is such an education to me, and I don't want to be left behind, and my students are like bringing these things up and these concepts, and I want to be able to educate them, but I need to educate myself first. So I've been so accustomed to doing tutorials and videos and posting them on YouTube or something like that, where then anybody can view that video, anybody can download that video. But I, as the educator, don't really get anything from that per se. I mean, again, I need to figure out the intricacies of subscribers and how many likes and all that stuff. Is this the way of, I guess, transitioning in a way for people like myself, entrepreneurs, instead of posting something on YouTube, that they could create an NFT of the video that they're producing content of, that they then want to sell to other people who want to have access to that file or that video? Do I have that about accurate?
Yeah, you could do that. You could even your podcast episodes, you could do those as NFTs. There are actually some people doing that already. That now the cool thing about that, so maybe this is a good transition point to talk about benefits of NFTs, because a lot of people still think about it as just expensive JPEGs until they understand it, what it does for them. And so a lot of times people talk about it's well, I could just screenshot and save image as people know it, and then that would just be my expensive JPEGs. So it's not the case, because so a bunch of reasons. So one of the functionalities of NFTs is that you can transact with anyone around the world, anywhere, at any time, any day, instantly, which is actually quite of a revolution in how transactions happen. Because if you do, let's say, PayPal, there's some countries don't accept PayPal, right? So if you do World Remit, some countries don't do it. So if you do credit cards, there are countries where they have specific limits on how much you can spend on a specific day. Maybe you have to call your bank. Maybe you have to do only so much, and then maybe you can do the rest of it later. So there's so many complications, versus with buying and selling NFTs, it just happens instantly. Now, it's good because the artist gets paid instantly as well. So this is also different when NFTs didn't exist. Artists would sometimes, have to follow people around, get paid, because that's just, they're not maybe complete business people. They're just really into their art, and sometimes they don't feel even they take it personally. They don't even feel like they want to argue about their art, or they want people to say anything about the price of their art, the value of their art. And so it's tough, versus now they instantly get paid. And then as for the owner of the artwork, they also instantly get it, meaning they have access to that artwork at the moment they pay, which is also really cool. And so now, so that's one. It's just how instant the payment is from anywhere in the world, anytime. And then also both parties just get access to what they need instantly, which is money or the art. And then, so that's one. Another one is, let's say if I'm an artist and I'm no one right now because I just started. And I'll give you, I sell you my art for $10. And then let's say I just blow up on the internet, and 10 years later, you still hold on to my artwork, but every other piece of art that I have is worth actually millions of dollars. Now, you own that artwork that I have that's probably somewhere around also $1 million, and you got it for $10. If you sell it for millions of dollars to someone else, I get nothing as the artist. You just made money, I didn't. Versus with NFTs, I'm known as the creator of that artwork for the rest of my life, right? And that artwork is actually still connected to me, which means every time you sell it to someone, and if they sell it to someone else, I continuously, for the rest of my life, I get royalties anywhere from 3 to 10%. So now it's not only that like I just sold it to you and it's done. No, for the rest of my life, I actually get paid and I get credit for creating that art at whatever point in time I created it.
That's fast. I mean, like I'm starting to my mind is like trying to like wrap my head around all of this, because when you said artist, my brother came immediately to mind. My brother lives in Ohio and he's a tattoo artist, and my mind is racing right now on how he can leverage what he does as a tattoo artist in the space of NFTs. Like he posts images all the time on his social media handles of the different tattoos that he does. I'm already starting to take those images and create NFTs for those images. Am I off base of
No.
starting to think this way?
There's actually someone in my program. He's a tattoo artist in Florida. Like that's actually a thing. And then also I would say on top of what I just discussed, it's also the concept that, you know, I grew up thinking, well, actually believing that artists are broke. So now that's changing. Yeah. So exactly. So that's changing because I've personally observed people coming in. They've made, let's say, they haven't even made $1 online, and then in a matter of 4 to 6 weeks, they build a community on Discord and on Twitter. And I can tell people like what Discord is, but it's essentially think about like WhatsApp or Telegram, any of those social media platforms. Doesn't have ads, has a lot of community features, community management features. And then also it's good for people in the NFT community because they get to stay anonymous in it. And so that's Discord. Now, people build Discord and Twitter communities from 0 to, let's say, 60K, 70K in a matter of 4 to 6 weeks, which is completely, exactly.
And it's free advertising, right?
Well, depends how they do it. We can get into that, but the coolest part is this. So let's say they've done this, and then in a matter of 4 to 6 weeks, they go from, like, let's say, complete newbie to the business world, investment world, quite honestly, internet marketing, anything to do with internet. They go from 0 to making millions of dollars in 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And so now I've been, just so you guys have a context, I've been in marketing since almost a decade ago. That's not something I've ever observed. You know, I worked with small businesses, startups, Series A, Series B, SaaS companies, so that's software as a service company. I worked with public companies, so some large companies, and also Fortune 500 companies as well, and just running their marketing specifically. And I've never observed anything like this not in the time that I've been around in marketing, but also I don't think it just exists a time where this progression in going from 0 to hero happens in such a short amount of time for like new business owners ever in the history of like mankind. Like this is just beyond just everything we had before.
Right. I'm blown away at how quickly this can happen, that these communities can be built. And you know, the music industry, I could see completely erupting and transforming and transitioning, where it seems like I heard this the other day. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I, again, really got into the concept of NFTs. So now I'm listening to all these different podcasts, and I'm trying to obtain all this information, that the music industry, there's a huge supply chain from artist to consumer. And all those intermediaries in between, they want a piece of the pie, a piece of the action. Yeah. And it's taking away from the artist, where I want to say the number was staggering. I want to say like the artist was only getting like 25% or something. It was a really low percentage.
It's possible.
Where you're talking, or maybe even 10, it was bad. But where you're talking like in the realm of professional sports, for example, where these athletes get, you know, 50% of the cut. The owners get 50%, the players get 50%. These musicians that are doing everything are getting such a small fraction, where cut out all these intermediaries and bring your content from you to the customer via NFT. Is that where we're heading with music files, where the artist just puts it out there, and if the customer follows that person and wants it, boom, it's theirs.
100%. And actually, I think there was someone was talking about on social media, was like saying they make more money in a month than they've been making in a decade with,
Jesus,
you know, with the traditional ways. And so, and that's actually true. I've personally experienced that in a sense that I work with a lot of influencers, and influencers anywhere from the ones that are charging maybe a few $1,000s for Instagram post, all the way to the ones that are charging $1 million for just an Instagram post for you. And so, and what happens is literally just like what you described. So let's say I represent a client and I want to get this influencer for an NFT project to talk about that NFT project. So we hype it up. Now the client pays me. I have to pay sometimes one person in between, sometimes multiple people. Like I pay one person, and then that person pays another person, and that person pays another person, and then it gets to the actual influencer. So there's so many people in between where like so many people get paid, where like this guy, as an NFT project founder, he has to pay way more than he would, because he has to like cover so many people in between, versus like, and this is the exact same thing in the influencer marketing happening as well. Like he can't just go into the influencer himself and just pay the influencer. It just doesn't happen that way. And there are reasons for it, but like one being, you know, influencers don't have the time to just chat with people all the time, because then they can't do their influencing. But that happens though. That totally happens. Like the price that the in between, it's just the price of the influencing goes up a lot more because of the people in between. But going back to your music industry, so it's actually really cool because they build their own communities now. They don't even have to listen to, let's say, a record label or like some company telling them what kind of music they should do or what kind of things they should. So they have a lot more freedom now. They can just build their own community, push a new track to all of them. They buy it. They don't have to pay anyone any money. And so it's like the coolest thing for them as well. And then also they're just closer to their community as well, because they get to do whatever they want for the community. Versus in the past, the record label knows, they're like, hey, like this is not the kind of track that will do well. You should do this instead, right? So, and this is not to hate on record labels. I think they're cool. I actually have like bunch of friends in there, but yeah.
But do you see then like this shift to, not to say that record labels are going to be completely obsolete, but where it seems like, again, more of the power is being placed in the hands of the artist? Do you see then like a complete dynamic shift where record labels have to pivot to stay viable? Some
of them are already. And so they started already. And it's really cool because if you think about, let's say like how you bought music in the past, there's like you would go into a store,
Right.
you would see a cover. Like even if it was a CD, you would see something, you would see an artwork, right? That's just like how NFTs look like now. So you would buy the NFT that has a cover, and then when you actually hold it, you get to listen to the music or the or watch the video or whatever that is. So that's literally just like what it was before, but now it's actually in the form of NFT. And then also, so the piece of the point is that art piece where the cover of the CD or whatever form it was, that still is in place, but now it's like, that's the NFT. That's the JPEG. Yeah.
Got it. Following. So you mentioned, the fees, and let's go back to the influencer.
Yes.
And the intermediaries. They all want their fee. They want a piece of the action. And again, I'm trying to wrap my head all around this and get some of the terminology as best I can. I understand that there's gas fees,
yes,
associated with putting things on the blockchain. Can you speak, I guess, in as simple as it possibly it can be, how gas fees play into the composition of NFTs and how one can, I guess, limit the amount that they pay in gas fees or the amount that is abstracted from them in gas fees? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure. So basically the concept is like if someone maybe read up on the idea of like mining. So for example, mining Bitcoins or just anything. The idea is there are these computers that are that I would say above average in terms of processing. And people can own them, but it's just you have to have like a high CPU and so on and so forth. Now what these computers do, they go through large number of combinations to figure out to basically solve mathematical problems, and then be able to come up with a solution for them. And then when they do that, that's obviously someone needs to do that, right? So when they do that, they need to get paid for it. So that's where the gas fee goes. And so now, if for an easier way to just think about gas fees is if you think about, let's say, PayPal, for example. When you do a transaction, you pay a few dollars to PayPal. I believe it's actually 2% or 3%, something like that. You pay that too. So every time you make a purchase, you sell something, you list your NFT, anything you do on the blockchain, typically you have to have enough enough funding in your crypto wallet to be able to pay for the gas fees as well. Now, lately, and by the way, NFTs could be on different blockchains. It could be on the Ethereum blockchain. That's where majority of them are. That's how it actually started. And then it could be on the Solana blockchain, but now recently we have like other blockchains too. So like, let's say it could be like XRP, so on and so forth. But on the Ethereum, so we always had gas fees. Now, it used to be on this. So the NFT used to be on this token that's called 721 ERC. Now, recently, some NFT brand that's like one of the top 5 right now on the OpenSea. And for people who don't know what OpenSea is a very commonly known marketplace for buying and selling NFTs. So there's this brand out there. It's an NFT brand. They just created their own token. So now it's instead of 721, it's 721A. So 721A actually has lower gas fees. So there's that. So that's the new thing that's happening with that. So a lot of brands I work with, they're all just going to use the 721A. So that's cool. But there are actually platforms out there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mintable, you can actually transact over there without paying any gas fees. So it's not like everywhere you have to pay gas fees. There are some marketplaces where you don't pay any gas fees.
They're just not as popular.
They're not as popular. Yeah, okay. I think apart from OpenSea, almost all the other marketplaces, no one knows about them.
Okay.
Yeah. If they know about Solana, they may know about Magic Eden because that's a popular one. But most of the time, newbies they just hear about OpenSea. If they hear about anything, they hear about
Okay.
OpenSea. Yeah.
So the gas fees
Yeah.
that you speak of. So again, I'm just trying to wrap my head all around everything that you're speaking of. Ethereum. If I understand correctly, that's where most of, or I guess the coin, the cryptocurrency that's heavily involved with NFTs. And I think you mentioned another one, Solana. That's another
Yes.
crypto, right? Is that, is that the functionality of most cryptocurrencies out there today? Again, it's like I'm inundated with how many there are out there.
There's
Do
so
they
many.
all, like, I guess I'm trying to see is that where they all need to be? Do they all need to have this functionality, this purpose in the NFT space, or is there some other functionality that they're supposed to be serving right now? I guess that's what I'm trying to gather.
Oh,
Is there
so
too many cryptocurrencies out there that we don't need them all?
yeah. It's just because a lot of influencers make up random ones and they make money from it. That's why. But so Bitcoin's obviously was first, and then Ethereum came to solve some of the Bitcoin's problems. So for example, Bitcoin is finite. Actually, there are a lot of conversations about how like by the end of this month it's just gonna run out. So and so it's finite. Versus Ethereum is not, but then it has gas fee. And then there's some other ones they don't have gas fee. Some are like faster in transactions. So for example, Solana really tried to solve a lot of like Ethereum's problems. So, but then Ethereum is gonna have like a Ethereum, like a new version of Ethereum. But they've been talking about that for almost 5 years now. So we don't know when that's gonna happen, and if it's gonna happen anytime soon. In other words, there are all sorts of different I guess coins out there. So there's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, but those are the top three that almost everyone knows. And as far as the NFT concerned, Solana and Ethereum are the ones that actually people dealing with. In fact, I would say 80% Ethereum and then maybe 20% Solana. So that's the distribution.
From, I guess, an investment perspective,
Yeah.
investing in NFTs as maybe a project or something, or is it like a buy and hold? Like I know this artist. Let's use my brother as an example. I know this artist from Ohio. He's a tattoo. He's incredible. I do think he's incredible. I think he's an incredible artist. But he puts his work out there, and I'm going to buy it as an NFT. I'm going to sit on it and hold it as an investment that 10 years down the road, that $10 investment now is $100, $1,000. Or is it I'm going to invest in the crypto, the coin itself, the Ethereum, the Solana, that is going to grow because it's needed to power all of the NFTs that are going to infiltrate this space and this community. I guess what I'm asking is, what is the better investment? Is it to buy and hold an NFT, or is it to buy and hold the crypto that powers the NFT space? Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah. So I used to do investor relationship marketing for public companies, and my role would involve finding short-term and long-term investors online, and then get them interested in that public company that I was working with, and then so they would invest in the stock price would go up, the public company will grow. So there are two different types of investors. There's the short-term and there's the long-term, right? So we would call it Max the Millennial, the short-term investor, and then also Gary, the long-term investor. So there's obviously a difference between them, right? So now same thing with NFTs as well. I've bought NFTs for $500 and sold them for $10K 2 weeks later. And so, yeah. So you can do that, right? And there are people making six figures just to, I mean, okay. So my sister, she used to work at a retail store and she was making $1,000 a month, working at this retail store, and she was okay. Like, it's cool. But then she got into NFTs. She has zero experience, absolutely zero experience in investing, zero experience in business, zero experience in, honestly, like, even like NFTs. And then, so when she started like flipping NFTs, and like, I believe last month she made 20K. And she's 20-year-old. And so there are not a lot of 20-year-olds. Like, I mean, in my 20s, that's not what I was doing, to be fair, like in a month. So, so that's like the upside of things. So now, what do you? So your question was, what do you invest in? Do you invest in like crypto, or do you invest in NFTs? I think both, really. But also NFTs are more volatile than crypto. So an NFT project, like, there's one specific one I can tell you, like one I bought for maybe $2,000 or something like that, I think, if I remember correctly. And then a week later went to almost zero. And since then it still hasn't gone up. So there's a process so there's this thing called a floor price. So meaning the lowest price you can enter the market. So lowest price you can buy a specific NFT from a collection. So say your brother has an NFT collection, the lowest price I can buy, that would be floor price. So there are actually things brands need to do to increase their floor price past the time that they sold out. And if they're not doing that, then you as an investor, you just lost all your investment, right? And that happens. So it's really important to know who you're investing in. Like, who's that team? Because if they're just kind of people, they're just like lazy, or they just want to cash out some money and then that's it. They're not interested anymore in their own project. Or if they don't have a track history of sticking to one thing, then you may invest in it. It may go up a little bit and then it crashes. And so there's that. So obviously people need to know. But then the good thing about that also is that because you can see who is doing it and what they're doing, you have a lot more insight than, let's say, Bitcoins. You have a lot more insight than Ethereum and how it goes up or it goes down. So for example, let's say if you there's like a new NFT collection and you see they're getting a lot of new Discord members, a lot of Twitter members, celebrities are buying into their NFTs, you know their price is going to go up. You can just buy in a week later, you can sell it for a larger price. Boom, you just made profit. Versus that's not the thing with cryptos. There's no such a thing like in cryptos. It's not like just all of a sudden it will, you don't have a lot of insight, basically. And insights, by the way, for people who want to learn these, terminologies, so they call it alphas. You don't have alphas meaning like the information that you need to be able to like make decisions. You don't have those alphas to be able to actually make really wise decisions as far as crypto. So I like the NFTs for that reason, because you just have a lot more clarity, visibility on where the market is going. And then also you can impact it yourself. So by you not selling your NFT for a low price, you're actually helping the brand grow. And vice versa. If you just go randomly and just put let's say bring the floor price down, you could potentially like completely like ruin the project, ruin the entire NFT project, right? So if you were to choose between NFTs and crypto, I think they're both, I invest in both myself personally. But I have way more influence and way more insight into where the NFT projects are going versus crypto.
So now advice.
Yeah.
Advice for high schoolers.
Cool.
And selfishly myself. To find said projects, these NFT projects, before they blow up, because forgive my ignorance, I think there's a project out there, just because I think so many people have talked about it. Is it the the apes or whatever, like the
Bored
pictures of
apes?
the ape.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where does one, I guess, start finding these projects? Is it the Discord channels that you spoke of and trying to find those communities before they blow up?
Yeah. I don't know if everyone can afford to do Bored Apes if to a start, but because they're typically, 300K to millions of dollars. But there are derivatives of it if they really like to. But I don't advise people buying derivatives of Bored Apes. Essentially, it's like another type of apes, like another collection of apes, but it's not Bored Apes. So there are plenty of those as well. But I don't advise people doing those. I would say I like people just, if they just go on Twitter and just type out free NFTs, they can find a lot of brands that they're giving away NFTs. Obviously, don't ruin the brand's collections by just quickly listing it, because then you will impact the brand. But, that's how you can start if you want to. You just have to pay the gas fees, maybe like $30, $50, whatever that is. But you can get NFTs and just like see how the pricing goes up and just experiment, make some money, and then go into larger projects as well. But where to find? So the way you want to actually get into. So there's, I guess, for newbies, just start. Like I would say 10,000, 20,000 I made in flipping NFTs. I don't even know what NFTs are, so you guys should be fine. And then, yeah, really. And then with
Right here.
Exactly. Of course, it's not a financial advice, Very good. But as far as the advanced version of it, so there are Discord groups that literally they give alphas. So meaning like they tell you these insights. They're like, hey, this thing is gonna happen with this brand. So you can know and then go in and just buy and sell later or hold if you want to. So there are actual groups on Discord. There's some groups on Twitter. You can join and then they give you alphas. There are two NFT projects. One is called Wall Street Fam and the other one is called Tribex. So both of them are for people who want to actually get into NFTs. So they provide a lot of information, many articles, and they're actually good articles too, that show people actually how to get into NFTs. So from Web 2 to Web 3, how do you transition, right? So Wall Street Fam is for actually busy professionals that they want to get into NFTs, so busy moms and busy dads. For the busy moms, they actually have a product called a vibrator. And so, so what that does, it actually allows them to figure out the rarity of NFTs. So meaning like they can figure out quickly how rare a NFT is before buying it, which is very important. And then also with Tribex as well, like their focus is like minorities getting into NFTs. So
okay.
So both of them, both projects, doing really like good job to actually getting people in there. And then also just like YouTube it. I mean, just go on YouTube, listen to podcasts like this one. I actually myself have plenty of content on like trading NFTs, marketing NFTs, and actually like really good point. So a lot of people ask me to create my own alpha group because I actually know if a project gonna sell out about a day or so before. And so I can technically, and it's not regulated yet, so I can technically be like the best person to tell people what to buy, what not to buy, because I know exactly what's gonna sell out. And so having understanding of marketing is actually really helpful because because people unless they know unless a brand knows how to market, they cannot really sell their NFTs. And if they don't sell it, there's no point investing in it.
Right.
So that's the concept.
That was a fantastic piece of advice. And I got to unfortunately cut it off here, Arvin. My God, we have to have you back on the show because this was so educational. And I feel like we barely scratched the surface. But if you want to know more, I just started following you on Twitter and Instagram. You can find Arvin Khamseh on Twitter and Instagram. We have him at F500 Marketer on Twitter, and I believe it's the same thing.
It's
on
Arvin.
Instagram.
Yeah, it's best. It's best if so. That's one of my brands, but it's best if they go to Arvin K NFT. So it's spelled as ARVIN KNFT.
There it is. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
At Arvin K NFT.
Yeah.
You can find and follow Arvin on there. I'm doing it now. I suggest you guys do the same because this is not going away. This is only going to continue to grow and explode. And you owe it to yourself to educate, not to say get in, but definitely educate yourself first and then start to dabble. So it's been a pleasure having you on the show, Arvin. This is yours truly, Wandy, and Arvin Khamseh signing off. God bless everybody.